Hey.
Hey. Hey. How y'all doing?
So it's been a minute. It's been a little minute. I feel like I start off every video on YouTube like this. How embarrassing. But honestly, I needed time to isolate. I needed time to heal. I needed time to not have the pressure of showing up. And I feel so much better for it. Also learned that I have ADHD. Probably part of the reason that I haven't been showing up either, just feeling overwhelmed by everything. Also, the world is crazy. Things are crazy. Things are very crazy right now. So also just processing all of that. But we're back. And I am here with a skin update like we do. You know what I'm saying? However, before I do that, I do want to encourage anybody who is going through TSW, has gone through TSW, is a parent of a child going through topical steroid withdrawal, please, please, please join the patient registry. So this is with ITSAN and the National Organization for Rare Diseases. Let me double check, make sure I'm saying that right. National Organization for Rare Disorders. I was close. I should know that because I was part of the team that helped put this patient registry together. But it's basically a collection of standardized information about a group of patients who share a condition, and the information can be used for a variety of purposes, like conducting natural history studies and supporting disease-specific clinical trial recruitment. And so it's just really important because there's so much that's not known about topical steroid withdrawal. There's so much that's not known about how the condition progresses, what other effects that it can have on your body outside of your skin. I know like ITSAN lists a lot of things, but like I'm dealing with a lot of the side effects, which is again why I haven't been here as well, just trying to figure out like how can I be the healthiest version of myself when I'm not really getting the support and the help that I need. I'm sure you can relate. So please, please, please register. I'm going to add the link. It's just really important and so helpful for people who are going through topical steroid withdrawal, who are looking for answers. It's not like how it was when I first started going through this or when I first started sharing. Like, I think I found like one other like Black creator who was talking about topical steroid withdrawal when I first learned of topical steroid withdrawal. But now it's like I go to the doctor and I'm like, have you heard of topical steroid withdrawal? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, oh, times have changed. Okay. I mean, which is amazing. But I'm like, dang, I wish I could have had a little bit of knowledge when I first started going through this. But anyways, the point is, please join the registry. I'm going to put the link for that in the caption. All right, so the way we start these off is with a skin update. And unfortunately, I still deal with flare-ups. This is another reason why I don't think I've been here, because I've just really been in the thick of things. I will say my skin has improved so much, my overall health has improved so much, and I was actually doing really well. And then December came and knocked me down. For context, this is my skin in August shooting an audition, and then this is my skin in November shooting an audition. And even though I have on makeup in both of these, look at my skin in December. This is right when the flare started. My eye is swollen. And then this is me last week shooting an audition. It took like an hour to get the makeup right because my skin was just so all over the place. And in January, I was actually like out for like a week where I could not go anywhere or do anything because it was so bad. Even still, not as bad as the way my flares used to be, but I was just so tired, so exhausted. And what I've noticed, I have a theory. The first time I got COVID, a few months later, I had one of the worst flare-ups I've ever had in my life. In 2024, I got really sick for like a week or two. A few months later, horrible flare-up. And the flare ramps up for like a month, and then it hits. And then afterwards, I'm still dealing with all this other stuff. In September of last year, I got really sick for like 2 weeks. And then in December, sick or flared. And the flare, again, it ramped up for a month. And then like the first week of January, I was done. Couldn't do anything and still dealing with the effects. And you can even see on my face, like here, there's discoloration. I had a lot of hypopigmentation. And so like even like my forehead, all this light area, it wasn't like that before. That's from the flare up. And just still dealing with like my skin is just still on one, but luckily I know how to deal with it a lot better now. I recently went to the hematologist. I'll get into that a little later, but was just explaining to him what was going on and explaining the pattern. And he was saying, well, that makes sense. Actually, I don't know if it was the hematologist. It doesn't matter. One of the doctors, I've been going to a lot of doctors' appointments, but one of the doctors that I went to was saying that it makes sense that I would have these big flare-ups after I get sick because it's like a heightened immune response. And I'm like, okay, is there a solution? So yeah, that's what's been going on. I do want to talk about the symptoms that I've been dealing with that aren't just my skin. Because, like I said, my skin was actually doing really well then December. How annoying. How annoying. I also worked with a naturopath in like 2023 and 2024. It was not a good idea. Anyways, so I was seeing a naturopath. She has this like clean body program. And when I looked into it, a lot of the pillars of health that she was talking about were in alignment with the things that I had been researching, and it seemed like the right thing to do. I had met her in person, saw that her skin was clear. She claimed that she had healed herself of eczema and topical steroid withdrawal. So I was like, okay, this is the way to go. Got a whole bunch of blood work done. Found out that I had been exposed to mold. My cortisol was too high, which is like a never-ending problem for me. My digestion was off. There were probably some other things. So then the first protocol that I go through is like to fix my digestion, and it doesn't really get fixed. And I will say initially I had more energy. It felt like things were getting better. Then, oh shoot, what was the second thing we did? Oh yeah, my digestion did not improve. So then I had to like go through that process again with like a whole bunch of expensive supplements, and then also secondary treatments that she recommended, like hitting the sauna, and doing colon hydrotherapy treatments. All this stuff is like super expensive. So then it was the mold protocol and the clean bile protocol and something else. And she was like, I really think you're going to start feeling better after this. Like I still had, but what I noticed is that in the times that I wasn't taking any supplements, my digestion would improve and my skin seemed to be okay if I wasn't eating a bunch of sugar. And that's when I should have known, like, just chill. But so much time, energy, and money had gone into the program that I was like, I got to see it out. And she also said like, you're going to see results after this. So I did the clean bile and the mold protocol. I think there was something else, another protocol that was part of that too, and I just can't even remember. But long story short, there was like a cleanse involved in it and like a liver flush or something. And I was doing it right before I started rehearsal for a show. So I was just trying to like get it done and handle it before I ran out of the supplements, before I had to like order more. And if I would have taken time to check in with myself, I would have been like, no, this ain't it. But I didn't do that. And so after doing those protocols, it seemed like I was clearing up for a second, and then everything got exponentially worse. Like, so I've kind of, my neck and my the lighting is just really great, so you can't see it as much, but like my neck and my chest has been flaring, the insides of my elbows, my hands, and these areas were always flaring, but like the insides of my elbows were starting to clear up in November. Then there's like around my armpits, there's a patch that's been on my thigh that's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger since like November. And then on top of that, I had issues with waking up to go pee in the middle of the night. And that got so worse to the point where I was waking up like every hour. And every time I brought it up to her, it was like, oh, well, it's just your body releasing toxins. And then I was like, okay, I'm working out, I'm eating healthier, and I feel like I'm holding on to like so much weight. Oh, well, there's just too much inflammation in your body. And then I brought up, I think I might be dealing with insulin resistance, because I've seen that is something that people with topical steroid withdrawal or eczema can be dealing with. And it was like, no, not based on your blood work. And so, yeah, everything just got worse. And so I just stopped seeing her. And now I'm figuring it out on my own. But I saw a video today, and it was talking about how a lot of these practitioners, naturopaths, or like functional medicine practitioners, they do a whole bunch of tests and then give you a whole bunch of supplements, and it's just too much for our bodies to handle. It's too much for our livers to process all of these different supplements. And sometimes it's just better to take a lighter route or an easier route or just a less stressful and intense treatment plan. And I'm positive that that's what's happened with me. So still working on like correcting some of the things that I feel like she made worse, but that's my TSW update right now. I think a lot of my time the past 2 years have been recovering from the damage that she has done. And I'm still trying to get to the bottom of a few things. So that is very frustrating. But at that time, if you're going through topical steroid withdrawal, like, or at least for me, I'll say going through this for so long, it got to a point where I just had nothing left to give. I didn't want to do any more research. I didn't want to be in charge of it anymore. I wanted to give it to someone else to help me because I was tired. And it was like, I felt like I was doing all the right things and I had gotten so much better, and then I regressed. And I was like, well, I don't know what this is. And looking back now, I know it's like, okay, if I have this immune response when I get really sick, or if I get like COVID, that's what it is. Like, that was kind of out of my hands. So yeah. So some of the other symptoms that I've been dealing with that aren't just the skin: food sensitivities, which I've talked about a lot, digestive issues, which have been a problem for years. One of the first things I did was like a gut healing diet. And I will say my digestion has improved so much, nowhere near where it used to be. Since working with the naturopath, just noticing like my body doesn't respond to exercise in the same way, or it's like I'm holding on to weight in a different way that I wasn't before. And I'm like, okay, is something wrong with my hormones? Like, what's going on? To be determined with all these doctor's appointments. I was not sleeping. I could not sleep through the night. I was literally waking up like every hour or 2 hours because I had to go pee. I was not sleeping through the night. I pretty much did not sleep through 2024. In 2025, kind of. Now, oh my gosh, I can sleep again. Amazing. I've also been dealing with a lot of hair shedding, and that's also goes hand in hand when I have the really big flare up. So I think it's gotten worse because of this recent flare. But that's also something that's been going on for like multiple years, where it's like sometimes really bad, sometimes it seems like it's getting better, and then I start shedding again. And then candida has been an issue for me for forever. I've tried medications, I've tried candida diets, I've tried a few things, and nothing really seems to get to the root. And then I've had chronic congestion for like forever. And then just fatigue, really dealing with like fatigue. And lastly, I think I've already talked about this, but I used to get like really painful cysts all over my body, and I would get like body aches, full body aches. So those are some of the symptoms that I've dealt with since going through topical steroid withdrawal. The good news is that a lot of those symptoms have massively improved, or I'm not dealing with them at all anymore. I don't get the cyst. I don't get the full body aches. I'm sleeping through the night again. So I did find out recently that I have low iron. So that's probably having to do with the hair. So I'm going to get iron infusions, and hopefully that will really help. Also found out that I have low white blood cells. So that's another thing that the hematologist said topical steroid withdrawal could cause that. And lastly, my digestion is like a million times better. So what have I been doing? Focusing on diet, like really eating clean. I will say I very much test the boundaries of that. And then I deal with the consequences, and I go, okay, my body don't like that. Let me pull it back. It's really an experiment. I feel like it really be an experiment. And the other thing with diet for me is that when I first started going through this, I did such extreme diets that I could not maintain. And I would get stressed out because I wasn't maintaining the diet and I wasn't healing. And so that's the thing where I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. If it's not something that I can sustain, then it's not the right protocol for me. So really finding like what works for me. I also like exercise, go for walks, get vitamin D. I feel like these are all things I've talked about before. Dead Sea salt baths, sit in the sauna. I have this tea blend from Napoli Naturals. It's a custom tea blend for eczema, and I've been drinking it probably for like a year now, and I definitely think it's helping. I also, as far as topicals, things don't really be making a difference. But what does make a difference? This right here, molecule 32. This is like the only thing that my skin really responds to, especially when I'm flared up. If you're in like the deep parts of topical steroid withdrawal, like where your skin is just all broken and open, I don't know if I would suggest this. It's gonna sting. It's gonna hurt. Because even when my skin isn't all cracked and open, but I'm flared, it does still sting a little bit, but it makes my skin better. I also use the Revive face cream. It's literally the only thing that I've tried that works. Also take some supplements. I do breathing exercises, although I've fallen off a little bit. I gotta get back on. And honestly, the main thing, I've been getting myself out of survival mode. There was a point last year where I just realized like I'm just too stressed out and my body is responding to it. I truly think that that's why I'm able to sleep better now. With the state of the world right now, reducing your stress is a challenge, to say the least. But honestly, being healthy, being in a state where you can thrive and not just survive is so critical right now. Because when you are stuck in survival mode, when you're sick, when you can't function, that's exactly where the powers that be want us to be so that we can't fight back. So I just look at my health as my top priority. Like if a job is going to make me not healthy, if an opportunity, if a relationship is going to make me sick or not take care of myself, it cannot be in my life. Period. Yeah. So this recent flare has really pissed me off, to say the least. I tell myself every day this is only temporary, but it's going on for longer than I would like. And although I've found a correlation between, getting sick and having these flares a few months later, I'm like, okay, that's a cause. How do I fix it? Because I can't do this again. Because like I said, being healthy right now is like of the utmost importance. Being healthy is critical. Taking care of ourselves, making sure that we can function, making sure that we can think clearly is so, so, so important. So that is the journey that I'll be going on, and I'll be sharing it and lots more on here because I'm finally in a place where I'm ready to share again. So yeah. If you've been rocking with me for a minute, thank you. I know it's been like years since I posted. But I'm back and I'm excited to share and continue creating and yeah, sharing the journey. So that's my update for now. I will be back soon. Not like the other times I've said it, like for real, I'm gonna be back. But yeah. Thanks y'all, and I'll talk to you soon.